the party is very much satisfied because if we look at the trend of Nigeria election since 1999, this is the most credible election Nigeria has ever had, in the sense that the opposition party, for another party to have won in Lagos, it really shows the election is free, fair, and credible. Because since 1999, no other party has ever won Lagos State, especially, apart from the ruling party, which is APC. So for the fact that Labour Party could manage to win the election in Lagos State, where the Bola Tinubu came from originally, it shows that the election is credible, is free and fair enough. Whoever that is talking about the election is not credible or who is writing any letter as the former president does, everybody has their own candidate and they have who they are supporting.
But I think these statements are made on the back of actual events. There have been accusations of fraud. As you say, some of the opposition parties have actually called for the elections to be scrapped. So I don't think it's a matter of a sentiment. Is this something that you can say you can legally stand up to the challenge? We are very much available legally to stand up against it. Because one thing you must know in election is somebody must win, somebody must lose. And in a situation where such election took place, obviously, the people who lost the election are not going to be happy. And when they are not happy, they can call for anything, they can do anything. The question we should ask ourselves here is, if PDP or Labour Party is the one winning the election, are they going to call for cancellation of the result of the election? The answer is no, they will not. But for the fact that they are not winning the election and they could see the trend the election is going through, that's why they are having a lot of different press conferences that the election must be cancelled, the election is rigged, the election is the other way around. No, it's not done. But the party does acknowledge that there have been challenges. Yeah, obviously there are going to be challenges, and it's not even about the parties, about the INEC itself, because they said their server was hacked and they have to shut down the server. That was the reason why they could not upload certain results at certain time. And there's one thing you must understand in Nigeria. The chairman of the INEC said, if we said we should not, because we cannot upload the election as scheduled on the server, should we now wait for another 5 or 10 days? It was and enough, are you not going to say to even that there are going to be a rigging? It was enough for IAGA to call it a crisis. We were supposed to have the head of IAGA on the program, and when we were waiting to speak to him, he said, there's a crisis. INEC has failed to load the results. There have been countless allegations of vote rigging, ballot buying. We know that there's been evidence of violence. We know it's violence. We know that at some areas that ballot boxes were snatched. These are very serious and egregious concerns. Yeah, but the INEC said wherever any ballot boxes has been snatched, the election of that area must be cancelled. And that's exactly what they did. There's a particular machine called BVAS they are using, and they say anybody who cannot be accredited by the BVAS machine also should be cancelled. So that's what they did. The oppositions are just crying foul, just because this time around they are not the one, at our own side. They've been in power for over 16 years. All this kind of thing has been happening. Why did they call for cancellation of election around that time? They did not, just because now it does not favor them. So they now want to cancel the election that the Nigerian government spent over 300 billion to come to bring to the table. So what your party is saying is that you are not denying that these incidents occurred, but you are denying that they've had an effect on the overall outcome of the vote. Yes, we are not denying that there is any issues here and there. It's natural in a country where most of the BVAS are not even working because of the areas and co. Obviously, there are going to be issues here and there, but that does not mean the opposition party should be calling for the cancellation of the results. You speak about it as issues, as though you are downplaying the serious nature of this. And I want to read a statement by the NDI IRA International Observer Mission. And this is the part where I find it very interesting. They say the Electoral Act of 2002 introduced much needed reforms aimed at creating and increasing transparency in results collation and timely organization. But it talks about these elections, saying that they fell well short of Nigerian citizens' legitimate and reasonable expectations. How do you respond to that?
Oh, well, excuse me. See, let me tell you something about the Nigeria election. The kind of the Nigeria we are operating from is totally different from all over places such as, number one, the issue of the BVAS I was talking to you about. It could not work in certain areas due to network issues. That's number one. Number two, the issue of transporting of the materials. Some part of Nigerian road are not good enough to transport goods on time, to get to the destination on time. And this affects everybody, including the APC, who are just been declared as the winner of the election. Whatever that happened to PDP also happened to APC. Whatever that happened to Labour Party also happened to APC. So they are not the only one who is affected here. It's just because this time around, the switch has been switched away from their side and switched to the other side. That is just pure the reason why they are crying foul. If this has been switched to their side, trust me, this issue we are having will not be happening at all.
The bimodal voter accreditation system, otherwise known as BVAS, the challenges that we experienced there, the fact that it's being said that some of the errors were not rectified, or the manner in which they were rectified is not acceptable.
That's the reason why some of elections are postponed from the day of the election to the previous day, just because the BVAS machine could not accredit certain people. And the INEC rule, one of the INEC rules is that if the BVAS could not accredit certain people in certain area or area where there is violence or thereabout, the election of that area should be cancelled completely. If it is due to the machine, fault of the INEC machine, then the elections could be postponed to the following day. It happened in Rivers State. You know, it's happened even in my state where I came from. When the BVAS machines are not working, they have to shift the election. They have to put the election to the following day, so that people don't be disenfranchised from, you know, having been exercising their right and their duty.
The concern is that once you reverse to a manual, the transference of the data to manual leaves room for the results or the data to be doctored or manipulated.
But one thing we need to know is there is no system that is perfect. That's the reason why there is electronic and there is manual. In a situation where electronic is not working, they resort to manual. I don't say because the electronic is not working, but they also cancel manual automatically. How are they going to collate results? How are they going to declare somebody a winner? Either we like it or not, on the 29th of May, 2023, there must be a president-elect.
You said very clearly the way elections are done in Nigeria are different, which suggests to me that, you know, sometimes when we talk about elections in Africa, we talk about particular standards. We say, well, they were widely free and fair, meaning that there is a certain amount of room that we leave almost you know, downgrading the pedigree of election processes in Africa. If someone were to misread what you're saying, is that what would you say? Because it almost says, well, you know, we've got to understand just that there will be problems, and this is true of every election. There are challenges, but you are saying what you have now is good enough, even though...
It's very, very good enough. Because if we look at the election of 2015, if we look at the election of 2003, if you look at the election of 2007 in Nigeria, trust me, this is very, very good. Because, for example, like I said to you, if the Labour Party, who is like a third force in Nigeria political system of today, where they have won election in 2003, in 2007, in 2015, it won't be possible if INEC system has not been upgraded to a better one. Okay. If it was before, it wouldn't have happened at all. These people are just crying foul because this time around the table has turned against them.
Concerns about tensions leading to violence, are they being overplayed?
In every election, there's going to be violence, either from PDP, either from APC, either from Labour Party. It's just because, like I said, it's still buttressed to just one point, because this time around, it doesn't favor.
They are real and valid.
Yes, they are. And the INEC council election in those areas that are violence, completely.
No, I'm talking about post-election violence.
For now, I don't think so, because there is nothing happening See, an average Nigerian, once things are done, everybody wants to just move on and let everybody start their life and start living their life the way it's supposed to be. There is nothing going to happen in Nigeria. No, there's no reason for us to be calling for violence or after election or before election. It's not going to happen in Nigeria.